Well, the saga of no, not that saga. The saga of the Snyder Cut continues. If you and I do recommend you follow Zack Snyder on Vero. That's where he's most active when it comes to social media. And he releases these little images. I mean, by now you know all that because there's all the all this stuff that you didn't see because it's all well hidden. It's only little teases about what his overall cut looked like and all of that. Well, the latest one, he also puts out these images with symbols and signs and hints as to what he's talking about. And so the latest one refers to the the myth of the Holy Grail with the King Arthur's knights and all of that. And so I was reading this article from Cosmic Book News with Matt McCloyne, where it refers to the Snyder Cut as the Holy Grail, and Snyder's not giving up on it being released. So he went on Vero and he released this painting that shows the scene of Sir Percival. He was the only pure knight of the Round Table who was successful in obtaining the Holy Grail. And but right before he could, the devil tempted him with a beautiful woman, and to keep him from achieving the Holy Grail. And I believe the scene is where he sees his sword hilt, and it reminds him of the cross. And he retains his faith or what have you, and the I guess succubus or whatever vanishes, and so he remains pure and all that. So Zack Snyder posted the image of the painting, but he superimposed the 214. And now the 214, of course, refers to the runtime of the cut that he's pushing to be released, and that puts it at 3 hours and 34 minutes long. So the suggestion by the painting was, what was the temptation of Zack Snyder? I don't think Warner Brothers threw a woman at him, but probably some payout or promises, as the article suggests, of future Warner's gigs or something like that, some other project. They say, well, we could have this for you. We could work on that or whatnot. Of course, his latest project was Army of the Dead, which he did for Netflix. So I guess he didn't take the bait and held out that, no, I want my version released in some form or fashion. And I guess maybe there was a stalemate over that. And so that's the only, guess we can make about if that's what he's talking about here, that he held out for his Holy Grail of the Snyder Cut, rather than just taking some buyout or what have you, or other gig, and keeping his mouth shut and his head down, and just everyone forget that there was this other movie. It's also of some interest to note that recently, I forget who, maybe it was Mendelsohn or somebody, saying that, oh, well, this runtime refers to, the raw footage cut, the principal photography cut. And then Snyder snapped back saying, well, no, that was over 5 hours long. So this is what he cut it down into a workable narrative for the film. And I'm wondering if that's what he did. This is the cut he offered Warner because he was doing, reshoots before he left. And then Joss Whedon came on. And so, because they said, no, you got to get it down. They wanted it under 2 hours, which is what you got with the theatrical release. So I'm like, this is what he said? No, this is as short as I could get it. I don't know. Because the thing is that he had a couple of cuts or what have you of it, or different edits of it. But this is the one that he's pushing. But, 3 hours and 34 minutes long. Obviously, this is an entirely different film than what was seen in the theater. So yeah, so there's all that. But as for the temptation of Zack Snyder, my guess is money or a new movie project or something of that nature. That's one of the things I keep coming to, that let's say, and I believe at this point, more than likely there will be a release of the Snyder Cut, probably on HBO Max. And but more interesting than that, which is why I really wish it would be on Blu-ray so we could have like the little extras and documentaries. But there again, even if you did, I doubt that we're going to get the full story of what really happened behind the scenes on all this, because, well, it's an embarrassment to Warner's, and they don't want that out there and that sort of thing, even though the regime has changed and all that sort of thing. It's still something they'd rather not be out for public consumption. But boy, almost as much as the Snyder Cut itself, I would really love to see a little documentary of that whole story. But I'm guessing that is something we'll probably never get, at least not in total. Maybe some hints here and there, but yeah, not the full thing. So it's an interesting little tidbit for the Snyder Cut story, which does continue. Oh, and there's one little tidbit extra here that McCloin offered in his article, that 214 is actually the number equivalent of Holy Grail and Frank Baconus gematria, which I'm not familiar with, but apparently that's the numerical value of Holy Grail according to this guy. So, and of course, Zack Snyder is heavy on symbolism and little Easter eggs here and there, some of which most people probably didn't even catch, even yet. There's a lot of that in Batman versus Superman and all that stuff, hints at what he was headed for. But it's a long, sprawling story. It wasn't meant to be just one movie. In a lot of ways, that's a weakness. But had he been able to complete, it probably would have gotten better appreciation for what he was attempting with this whole DC comic superhero saga. Yes. So, thank you for watching and listening, and release the Snyder Cut. Oh, yes, release that Snyder Cut. Let's see that. Anyway, yeah, thank you for watching and listening. Please like and subscribe, and check out that link description below. That'll take you to my mini stores that have plenty of goodies for you. Yes, you. And also, of course, follow me at the Mr. Nailsin channel on BitChute. That's BitChute.com.